You're an inspiration to our entire organization.
Welcome to the Gym Marketing Made Simple podcast. We're going to be talking the done-for-you marketing and sales strategies proven to work with boutique fitness gyms to increase quality lead flow and grow your revenue. Don't try to be a professional marketer and waste tons of money. Let the experts at LASSO do it for you. And now, here are your hosts, Blake Ruff and Sherman Merricks.
What's going on, and welcome to the Gym Marketing Made Simple podcast, or what we should call in this episode, the Gym Sales Made Simple podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Burlingame, and we're going to start dropping some sales-specific podcasts for you guys in short form, 10 to 15 minutes, absolute max, where I want to hop on here with you and provide you with some of my insights from working with thousands of gym owners over the past 15 plus years, after having been a gym owner myself, after having worked in Globo gyms and even the boutique style gyms, owning a CrossFit gym for almost 6 years. I've been through all of that, and I've designed sales systems along the way that have been proven to help the gym owners that I work with. And I want to share all that with you. So we're going to break it up into bite-sized little pieces and present it to you in this format right here on this podcast. So here's episode 1 for sales. And today I want to focus on the number one thing that leads to either success or failure when it comes to selling. And that is your mindset. And, I say when it comes to selling, this probably applies to everything in life. So take that as you will. So let's get into it. For mindset, when it comes to selling, there's a couple of questions that I ask anybody who I hire as a salesperson or that I'm training, whether they're an entrepreneur, coach, et cetera, right? The first thing I want to know, though, first thing I got to ask you is, does what you sell work? Does what you sell work? Is it a product or a service? If you're listening to this podcast, we're going to imagine then it's a service. Now, if you start selling products in your gym, that's something you can do as well. And you're going to have to ask yourself the same question, but make it product focused. So does the service work? In other words, does your coaching work? Does your specific type of programming work? Does what you sell work? The answer needs to be yes, spoiler alert. Otherwise, you're not going to have a very easy time selling it. So if yes, awesome. Let's proceed to the second question. The second question is, do you believe in it? So it works. Great. Do you believe in it? So you sell, some form of CrossFit, or you've got a HIIT gym, you're running a boot camp, you're doing high rocks, whatever it is. Do you believe in it? And I would imagine you're probably practicing what you preach, or I would hope so. So in other words, in your gym, let's say you have a CrossFit gym. If you were selling CrossFit, I imagine that you would believe in it. But if I go to your gym and in the middle of the day, you're training and all you're doing is powerlifting, for example, or just Olympic weightlifting, you never do a single WOD, then that's, I'm going to be scratching my head a little bit, right? I want to see that you also believe in it, that you stand behind it. So again, spoiler alert, needs to be a yes to this question as well. Let's go to the third question. Do you believe in yourself? I know it sounds cheesy on the surface, but this is important, because if you know your product works, if you believe in the product and you believe in yourself, now we can go places. But if you have a lack of belief in any of those areas, that's going to be an issue. And it will manifest internally and externally. You're going to have a tough time just being confident, and you're going to have a tough time selling something that you don't believe in to someone else, right? So that is the big challenge that comes up here. So, we need to make sure, yes, you believe in yourself, and then we can move on to the next question. So here's the big one. We have just discussed, hey, does this work? Do you believe in it? Do you believe in yourself? Now, I need objective data here. Will this help your clients? And when I say, will this help your clients, you could say in general, fitness in general helps everybody. But there is also a specific type of audience that is going to benefit more from a CrossFit gym, from high rocks programming, from a boot camp, from HIIT style, from Olympic weightlifting, from powerlifting, whatever it is. There's a specific audience or niche that's going to benefit more from that. And there's an audience that will benefit slightly less from that. So it's something you have to keep in mind. Our programs are not designed for everybody necessarily. They're designed for maybe most people, but definitely a group of people. right? And that's going to come down to the actual program offering, the intensity of the program, the type of training you're doing, but also price, location, right? So if you think about it that way, because I know at first you're maybe listening to me and you're saying, no, like everybody needs fitness. And I agree, absolutely, 100%. But you're kind of constricted to one single geographical area unless you're selling online. So not everybody then, just people in that city, township, rural area, whatever it is. And then not everybody in terms of the programming either, right? Like we're not going to train 70-year-old grandma the same way as a 15-year-old kid. It just isn't the way it is. You can modify those movements on the floor and that's great. But there's going to be a specific audience that this is going to benefit more. So when you're, going through a sales process with someone, you have to determine if they're a good fit, right? It's there's sort of a fit test that we have to go through with this as well, just to make sure we're selling the right thing to the right people. But overall, you need an answer for this. Will this product work for your clients? Got to be a yes, right? You have to know that niche, who's your ideal client. But if you're thinking of that ideal client, and I've got Sally Gym member here, and I'm thinking about Sally, if I can say Sally would definitely benefit from this product, great, we get to move on. So that's got to be a yes. So if I have a yes to all of those questions we just went through, then what you can confirm is that selling is helping in your case. You are doing the right thing. It is your job now to sell, to get people to what I like to think of as the starting line. It's not to the finish line, right? Like they haven't accomplished their goals yet. They're about to set some goals with you. They're going to join their gym and hopefully accomplish those goals. But that means we got to get them to the starting line. Like they don't even set up at the start line to start the race if they don't sign up with you. So that comes down to your ability to sell. And I find it's really helpful, especially in our industry. It seems a lot of us kind of get into this. We love fitness. We like the idea of being a gym owner. And then we realize, oh no, like I have to sell in order to stay in business. I have to sell in order to profit. I have to sell in order to make a living doing this thing that I love to do. And I find that it really helps to just get that mindset straight, both for yourself and for your staff. So this is also a practice that I would put in place for my staff. I'd ask them the same questions. I'll make sure that they are also saying yes, because I need that buy-in. And then once I have that buy-in and we're all on the same page and we all feel good about what we're doing, then it's going to be a lot easier, not 100% easy, but easier to pick up that phone, dial that number for that lead and press send and call that person. It is extremely challenging to do that. And that phone, it just starts to weigh 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 100 pounds some days. It's so hard to pick that phone up and dial and make that call. And usually it stems back to your mindset. Like if I have a poor mindset, if I don't feel good about what I'm doing, of course it's going to be challenging to pick up that phone and make that call. You have to have that buy-in. Now, some people they got that dog in them. I like to think about it like they're straight hustlers. They feel like that born salesperson, right? I don't believe that anybody's necessarily a born salesperson. I think people are just maybe better at talking through it, or they just have that instantly, they have that mindset for it. Anybody can become a good salesperson. You just have to manifest that mindset, right? We're getting to that point. So we've gone through these questions. We make sure that we feel good about what we're doing. We know the product works objectively. We believe in it. We believe in ourselves, etc. So you've answered yes to all that. We now understand that selling is helping, in your case, at least, if you're selling to the right people, your ideal client profile. Now it's helpful to come up with something I think of as like a mantra, right? It's, again, bear with me. It's going to seem, a little cheesy on the surface here, but it is extremely helpful because this is as much something to pump you up before a sales call as it is to be a mental reset when you fail to make a sale. So if I have a lost deal versus a closed deal, then those are two different paths, but I still need something for both of those, right? When I close a deal, this is something that kind of pumps me up. I put it down as like, think of like your PRs in the gym, things to be proud of, right? I did it. I did this. I achieved my goal. I made a sale. Maybe it was a hard fought one. Maybe it was easy. It was an easy one. It doesn't matter. I made that happen. I made that sale. It's done, right? That's a good thing. Mark that down, make it a part of your, mantra, something you can go back to with your records. And then on the other end, you lost a deal. We didn't make this sale. That's okay. How are you going to rebound from that? How are you going to bounce back? And that's where having this mantra, this mental reset, can really help with that, right? So here's an example. Here's mine. Whenever I go into a sales conversation, I'm never really like nervous anymore. There's not really any anxiety attached to it because I think of this one simple thing. I'm going to get on this call. I'm going to get to know this person. I'm going to get clarity on what it is that they're challenged with or what their problem is. And I'm going to do my best just to show them a solution. And whether or not they buy from me, that's okay, because I'll know that I've done my job. That's my mantra. That's it. You want the simple version of that? The simple version is I'm going to get on this call and make a friend. That's it. So there's the long version and the short version. You pick your preference, whatever works for you. If I think of every sales call as an opportunity to make a friend, then naturally I'm going to go into that call pretty inquisitive. I'm going to be asking them a lot of questions. I want to get to know them, right? And I really want to understand what they're struggling with and how potentially, right, I can help them solve that problem or overcome that challenge. And if I go into every call with that mindset, it's really easy to pick up the phone and make that call. It's really easy to hop on a Zoom call. It's really easy to sit down in front of somebody at my gym. I have no problem with it whatsoever. No nerves, no anxiety, nothing. Why? Because I'm simply there to make a friend, man. Worst case scenario, they're just going to tell me, no, I don't want to be friends. And I'm going to say, okay, there's other leads out there. There's other people that I can chase down. But again, this all stems from having the right mindset. If I go into this with the right mindset, it's a lot easier to overcome those challenges and to feel good and approach sales more positively. So that's what I want for everybody. Understand that it takes a bit of practice to get here, right? These questions might seem super simple and light on the surface. You might be listening to this podcast episode and going, well, that's silly. I could have solved that problem. And maybe you have solved that problem, but a lot of people struggle with this. I've now at this point, I've done thousands of calls over the past 15 plus years. I've been working with gym owners and it always comes down to the same thing. It's always about mindset. If you get the right mindset, you're going to have better results. If you neglect the mindset, that's where, you're going to have a tough month. You're going to have a tough 3 months, maybe a tough quarter, right? How do you bounce back from that? Do you just quit? Do you sell the gym? Do you pack it up? Do you fire your team, take it all on yourself? Or do we just work on like the root cause, the root issue being everybody needs to get their heads right? You need to get things straight so that you can go into those calls more positively. And that positivity, I'm telling you guys, it's contagious. It is contagious. It will carry from you to the person you're talking to, and they're more likely to sign up with you. It's one of those like hidden secrets of sales, if you want to call it that. And as much the inverse of that is also true. If I go into sales calls negatively, if I go into them begrudgingly, if I'm like, I don't want to be here right now, they can also sense that. And then that is going to lead to a lack of sales. You're going to lose more sales if you go into it like that. So that's the deal, you guys. Get your mindset straight. Get your team's mindset straight. Pick up the phone, smile, type in the number, and then hit send. It's a lot easier to do if your mindset's straight. So let's work on that. Now, the next thing that you need is what I'm going to cover on my next episode that I go on here and record for y'all. And that is a structured conversation. Too many of us are going into these sales conversations. You're just loosely. They're just playing it loose and free, saying, you know what? I'm going to ask the person their name, what they want from me, and then I'm going to show them how I can do that. And I'm going to call it a day. But there's so much more to that. And there's a very important reason why you want to have your sales conversations fully structured out ahead of time. So let's cover that on the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to this one. Again, make sure to re-listen and share with your team and anybody you know in the gym industry who could benefit from improving their mindset when it comes to sales. We'll catch you guys next time.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to the Gym Marketing Made Simple podcast with Blake Ruff and Sherman Merricks. We hope you enjoyed. We believe marketing should increase revenue and not waste money. So book your free call today. Head on over to LASSOframework.com. That's LASSOFRAMEWORK.com and find the right words, get more customers, and increase your revenue. We'll see you here next time.